What is up, you beautiful buggers? Welcome back to Budget Cars and Bikes. We're on the blue mat of love, which means only one thing. We've got another product to review. Inside this box here is going to be another motorcycle smart screen, infotainment, GPS, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto kind of affair. So this time we're going to be taking a look at the Linkifun, I think it's pronounced, not a brand that I've actually come across before. This is the Linkifun MT23, I do believe. Again, I don't know anything about this. They reached out to us via our contact details. By the way, if you've got anything you want reviewing tech-wise for bikes and cars, the contact details are for Instagram, all that kind of stuff are in the description below. Anyway, so Linkifun, I shouldn't laugh, it's an interesting name. I'm sure it means something to somebody, but as I said, I've not heard of it before. So this is going to be another, as I said, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay kind of affair, and we're going to unbox this now, which is going to take some time by the looks of things. I won't bore you with that. We'll basically just get this unboxed and we will, as always, take a look at this, kind of a first impressions, opening and looking around, seeing what we get inside the box. We'll talk about the specs, try to put it together in some kind of fashion, and then we'll pop out to the bike, fit it up, and basically see what it's all about and compare it to the two previous ones we've done. We have actually done, I think, 2 or 3 of these kind of smart infotainment screen things for your bike. I'll stick those in the top right corner throughout this video. But this is the Linkifun MT23, I believe. If you're interested in finding out more about this budget infotainment system for your motorcycle, stick around. We'll get this box open, see what's inside together, and get into it. Okay guys, well the box is open, the exterior box at least. That was no mean feat. That was sent very well packaged because it's come all the way from China as usual. We have got, by the looks of things, wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, it's intelligent navigation, front and rear cameras are included, an IPS screen. What else does it tell us on here as we look around? We have got easy to install and disassemble apparently. IP67 waterproof, which is always nice. 800 nits brightness, very nice. Temperature, well, that's irrelevant, I guess, for us. It's nice to see it comes with the cameras. It also comes with a card reader sachet thing here, which is interesting, and we'll find out more about that in a second. Not very much else to say, really. Looking around the box, we'll just pop that up there. But yeah, these tend to be a little bit generic. I guess what's happening in China is they're making a lot of these kind of panels, and they're just branding them under their own name. And as I said, this is Linkifun compared to the Lamto we did recently, and the Aochi as well, and I think we did one before that as well. Just check a look back through the catalogs. These are tending to get a little bit cheaper and a little bit better as well. So if you're in the market for getting some GPS for your older ride, if you use Apple and you want Apple CarPlay, if you've got an Android phone like we use and you want Android Auto, which basically is just Google Maps effectively on your bike, which is always very nice. These are incredibly good for that, but just bear in mind, this is just a mirror screen, really. All this does is anything that's on your phone will be mirrored onto this screen here via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is very nice to have, but don't really be fooled into thinking it's an intelligent kind of smart screen thing. It's not really, it's just a mirror of your phone, but that does save you having to put your phone on a quad lock mount on your handlebars and risking your £1,000 iPhone. You can just keep that in your pocket, nice and safe. And this will communicate with your crash helmet, it'll play your music, you can ask it questions by OK Google and all that kind of good stuff, and of course GPS, which is what we're after really. Anyway, let's get this secondary box open and find out exactly what we get inside here. Well, wow, what a lot we've got. There's a lot more in this box than there was in the Lamto RC19 that we did recently. One thing I'll say straight away is the screen is smaller. That looks to be around about a 5-inch screen, I would say, something like that, maybe 7. Not quite sure exactly. The one thing I have noticed is they've got a screen protector on as well, pre-fitted, which is always nice. The unfortunate thing is they always look a bit crappy, don't they? So, yeah, not quite sure how I feel about that. I might personally put a secondary screen protector on there. In other words, take that crappy one off that's obviously been scratched during transportation perhaps, and get a nicer one, get that on there. I'm sure they probably sell those. There is your mounting hardware there. One side will obviously go onto your handlebars, the other side onto the rear of the camera, just up there, sorry. And this obviously just slots straight into the back of there. There's a little kind of cradle there. Now that's something I do really like because, again, going back to the Lamto that we had recently, now that basically you couldn't get it off. You you had to physically unbolt it from the bracket to take it away from the bike every time you stopped, and I didn't like that. This obviously looks like you can just slide it out of this kind of thing here, unplug the little connectors here, and you're away, you're gone. A little instruction booklet down there as well. I mean, very, very little. There's your GPS antenna, your power sources there. Couldn't really be much simpler with an inline fuse. You've got your power in, as in your 12 volts source, and your ground, and not quite sure what that is. That's looking to, well, it doesn't really tell me very much about that. We'll have to go through the instructions for that one. That looks to be like a handlebar kind of control system there as well, so you can put this on the handlebars and control the camera without having to kind of mess about on the screen perhaps. I would imagine this is touchscreen, but perhaps you have to use that, or you can use both. We'll get into that, of course. Your TPMS down there as well, your little sensors, they will go on to the front and rear tyres of your bike. They just basically bolt on, so this will continually update you about your tyre pressure, which I do like. That is really, really useful. Front and rear cameras 1 and 2, we will have a look at those as well, obviously, and a little screwdriver which they throw in for good measure. I'm assuming most of us have got a screwdriver, to be fair, but it looks like it will just connect straight in. One will be for the power source, the other for the cameras, and that will be your GPS there, which we spoke about just now. So you'll have to find a place for all of this. It makes it a little bit harder to kind of get it all onto the bike, but we'll go through that. I'll show you how I'm going to do it, and we'll go from there, and I'll give you a quick overview of the menus, that kind of stuff. Obviously I can't show you that right this second because we've got no power to the unit in the kitchen on the mat. So what we'll do is when we finish the unboxing, as you can see, we're going to pop out to the bike and have a little look, see where we're going to mount this. I will get some power to everything, and I'll show you how I've done that. We'll go through the camera footage, as in basically, is it worth having? Is it kind of a 430p crap affair, 720 perhaps, or is it 1080 plus? We'll have to go through that. As I said, I'll stick these specs in on the top left corner at some point throughout this video as well, but we will give it a thorough testing. So if you're interested in finding out about that, stick around. We'll pop over to the bike now, get this all kind of set up. I won't bore you with how I'm going to set it up. I'll just show you once it's done, and I'll talk you through it, and we'll basically test everything out, see how it all works in the real world, and then pop back into the kitchen and I'll give you my final conclusions on whether you should buy one of these. All right, let's go. So as you can see, guys, we've actually got it set up here on the XJR 1300 just for kind of demonstration purposes. All I've done is effectively run it straight now to the battery. They did send me a video as well to say, look, you know, what you need to do is counterintuitively connect the red to an ignition live, the yellow to a positive permanent live, and the black to a ground as usual. You'd think it would be red to positive and yellow to ignition live, but it's actually the other way around, and they did send me a little video about that. Once you get your head around that, that's fine. If you don't want an ignition live, all you do is you basically just put both the yellow and the red straight into the positive, as in the permanent live. The only problem with that, of course, is that it's going to be permanently on, just like the lamp toe, which I don't like. So I would suggest you basically get a circuit test to find out which is your ignition live and do it as they say, because that way, as soon as you switch the ignition on, the unit should come on. That's it fitted there with its little bracketry. As you can see, I'm a little bit miffed about the way it sticks up quite so much. I don't really see the need for that, because if you kind of look at it here, it's yeah, it's a big old unit, as you can see there. I mean, it's only here literally kind of just very gently bolted on for demonstration purposes, but it looks a bit ugly, doesn't it, really? You could play about with it, I guess, here and there, but from a rider's perspective, as you look here, it's better than the lamp toe because you can actually still see the clocks. I guess that's a bonus, and it does go up and down. And the other hugely important factor is you can just take it straight off of here, basically. I won't do it now because I'm one-handed, but as you can see, I think we demonstrated this in the kitchen. This whole unit just comes off this bracket. So effectively you just unplug it from here, pop this out, put it in your backpack, and you're safe. It's not going to get nicked then, is it? Unlike the lamp toe, which was on a permanent live, and basically you had to unwire everything and take it away with you, which I didn't like. But that's it in situ. We are going to get it properly wired up. As I said, we're only going to do this for demonstration purposes, and I'll cut back in and show you what the screen looks like. So there she is, firing into life. We are greeted with a little Android logo there, as it were, and the Android smart screen. I'll try to get this out of the way a little bit. It does appear to have a screen protector on there at the moment. I say that because there's a couple of kind of little air bubbles in there. The device is starting. Here we are, we're in KPH, so I'm assuming we can get into settings. We'll go into there in a second, but that is your user interface. That's what you're going to be greeted with. You've got your music, your miles per hour, your audio in, your car link, which I'm assuming would be Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Here is your tyre pressure monitoring system. I think we mentioned that in the kitchen. They do supply 2 TPMS kind of modules that you fit to the front and back tyres, and basically you can just keep an eye there, as you can see, front and back. It'll tell you exactly what your tyre pressures are doing, which I think is incredibly useful. Here, by the looks of things, you can record your ride. You would just press that. We'll go into the cameras in a sec. We will have a quick look at the home page, or maybe that's, yeah, okay, well, let's have a look at the settings. I do apologise about any kind of sun glare here, guys. It's an incredibly hot Sunday afternoon here in Cornwall. There's your Bluetooth connections there by the looks of things. Wi-Fi. Okay, you can create your own hotspot, go into airplane mode. Effectively, anything you can imagine that your Android phone can do, it'll be kind of mirrored here in that respect. Okay, so let's take a little look at the cameras. There is one of them there. I'm not going to set them up on the bike because, well, basically I'm not going to use them, so it seems kind of pointless. Effectively, you would put it in like so. I'm assuming underneath somewhere or on top of somewhere, and as you can see, that is the picture you will see from the front of the bike, and obviously if you spin it around you can see the back. There is a front and a back as well. Let me just see if I can press record on here, guys. Okay, well that's it recording now. What I'll try to do is stick that in the top left corner, download this file, see if that's a better picture, because the picture, I'm sorry, isn't brilliant here. Talking of the picture, the quality is, it's okay. Let's see if we can get into these dials, and that might give you a better idea of the quality of the camera, as in, you know, the definition. It's okay. It's not 4K, obviously. It's probably more like a 1080p, I would say, but yeah, it's fine. You know, if you stick that on the front of your bike, that will record. It should be recording now. So that is the front camera. The back one's going to be exactly the same. There's not a lot of point in showing you that, but you've got your time and your date on the bottom right hand corner there, and when you're ready to stop, you just, I'm assuming, go back here, and that has stopped recording. So that's the cameras that you can fit if you wish. There is also this kind of weird little thing here, guys, which I'm not sure I mentioned in the opening of the box, as it were, the unboxing. It fits on to your handlebar as well, and it's a kind of a hand controller, as you can see there, so you don't have to touch the screen, perhaps if you've got gloves that aren't screen kind of friendly in that respect. Like mine are pretty crap, to be fair, but if you've got gloves that will use touchscreen, then you're not going to need this. I'm not going to fit this on because, you know, it's just literally a mirror of this. Effectively, you can use this, as I said, if you've got big fat gloves, maybe in the winter that would be more relevant. For now, not so much, because as you can see, this is a touchscreen kind of affair here, so it seems pointless really putting this on just for demonstration purposes. As you can see there, you've got your 3 buttons, home by the looks of things, power, and answering the phone. So obviously if you've got a headset on, you can just press this button on here and answer your phone if that's the way you work. I haven't actually found any way to change the miles per hour inside here yet, because obviously that's your sat nav there. As you can see, we are close to Plymouth, so that's telling us that. I've effectively connected it to the home Wi-Fi just for this demonstration, and my phone, so you can use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay if you prefer. But obviously, as you can see here, you would just use it like Google Maps on any other device. Effectively, you just type in where you want to go, you press directions, and you press go, and you're off, and then you get turn by turn through your headset in your crash helmet, if that's, again, what you use. If not, you can just follow the on-screen instructions. Lovely screen, that as well. Not quite as good a quality, I would say, as the Lampto, but good enough. And it pinches in and turns and does all this kind of funky stuff as well, which is kind of cool. I do like that. Going back to the home screen, as I said, that is your music player there. We have Pretty Pink, which isn't actually the film Pretty in Pink, don't laugh. It's just an album I've got on my phone, which has been mirrored here. The KPH, as I said, I cannot find a way to actually get that to change to miles per hour, because if you look into the settings, there's not very much in the settings. It's a bit odd. Maybe you need to bring the screen down. No, that doesn't do anything. To the side. No. To this side. No. Okay, that's your brightness there, as you can see. That's a setting we hadn't found just now. What's this now? Okay, here we are. There's the settings. So I guess device settings, you'd go into there. Bear with me and I'll see if I can find it, guys. Well, the short answer is no. I can't seem to work out a way to get that from KPH to MPH, which is a bit annoying. I'll look into that and I'll stick it in the top left corner if I did actually work it out. You might have noticed the screen's gotten a little bit brighter as well. There was a little setting inside there. It was only on 52%. Now it is beautiful, looking lovely. Okay, well, that's pretty much as far as we can go with this, guys. I'm going to unplug everything, get it back in the house, and then basically give you a quick outro for this video, give you my opinions, what I found out, what I like, what I don't, and I'll tell you whether I recommend this over the Lampto or the Aochi. And as I said, the positives, the negatives. So stand by, we'll get this unbolted, get it back in the blue mat, and we'll close out the video, and I'll tell you whether you should buy one. Okay then, guys, that has been the overview and test fit and quick demonstration of the Linkifun. Yeah, I know it's a bit of an odd name. The MT23 model. This has been a bit of a joy, actually, to get to know. It's one of the better ones out there when it comes to these infotainment systems for your motorcycle. As you may well know, I'm on the fence, as it were, about the need for these, the usefulness of them compared to just sticking a mobile phone on a quad lock mount, something like that. I get it for kind of adventure bikes, for touring, that kind of stuff. I think these things are kind of invaluable. If you've got a 1200 GS, a Multistrada, something like that, and you're going to go long distances, this could be really, really useful to you. If you're just blamming about like I tend to do, then my Samsung S25 on a quad lock mount is more than sufficient for me. But as I said, I do see the need for these, or the usefulness of these kind of devices in the modern world, as it were. This one specifically because it comes with the forward and rear facing cameras in full high definition. I really do like that. This, I don't know if I've mentioned before, has a dedicated SIM slot as well, which basically means you can use it without your phone. In other words, you can do your GPS navigation using your SIM card if you just wanted to buy a pay-as-you-go SIM card just to do that. Again, I'm not sure of the usefulness of that. It means you don't have to use the data on your mobile plan for your phone, I guess. I think it's a bit of a gimmick in that regard, because effectively what these things do, as you know, is they mirror your phone. So, as I said, a bit of a gimmick perhaps, but I do like this. There's a decent screen. The only thing that kind of annoys me about the screen a bit, I'll stick it up in this top left corner, are the bezels. They are enormous bezels on this screen. I don't really understand that in a modern world. We don't have to put up with those kind of bezel situations as we did with the old Android phones, so I'm guessing it's probably a cheaper, older panel, perhaps. Pure guesswork, of course. I've not dealt with Linkifun in the past. Compared to the Aochi, you get more for your buck, as it were, more bang for your buck. You get a lot in here, but it's a bit more expensive. These are around about 150 quid, I think, but as I said, you do get the SIM card slot. It's IP67 waterproof. You get the forward and rear facing cameras, an 8-core processor as well, which is supposed to be super, super fast, although I didn't see much evidence of that during the testing. I will give you an update on this in the future if I find out any more on it as we take it out for a ride over the next couple of months. But as I said, that has been the MT23 from Linkifun. I do like it. Should you buy one over the Aochi? Ooh, not sure. It depends what you need. If you want the cameras, great. It's one of the better ones out there. I think the panel technology is maybe a little bit dated. The SIM card slot, I think, is a little bit of a, just a gimmick in that regard. But it's a decent kit, and there'll be some discount codes in the description and an affiliate link as well. So if you use the affiliate link to buy one of these, I get a very, very, very small, like 2% kickback, and you'll get a 10% discount. So everybody wins in that regard. But I hope you enjoyed this little test video, guys. I hope it's been of some information to you and some help. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe down below. Give this video a like, a share, and a thumbs up, all that kind of good stuff. It really, really helps the smaller channels like mine to grow. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with another video on a bike, I would imagine, because we're doing kind of bi-monthly videos now. We'll do a product, we'll do a bike, we'll do a car, we'll do a product, etc., etc. So I'm not quite sure what will be coming up next, but it'll be of interest, I promise. And as I said, don't forget to subscribe down below. It costs you nothing and it means the world to me. Thank you so much for taking the time to kind of pop along and have a little look at this video. As I said, I hope it's been of some use. Any questions in the comment section below, I will get back to you within 24 hours. All right, guys, from Budget Cars and Bikes, that is the MT23 from Linkifun. I hope it helped. Take it easy, guys. Ride safe.